Thank you, Sini, for such a wonderful reflection on the Holy Communion. Right, so uh, today we're going to continue our study in the book of Hebrews. Today we're going to look in Hebrews chapter 2. Um, are any of you in the habit of walking through cemeteries and looking at gravestones and all that? Just in front of my house, when I go out the road from my taman, I can see a lot of gravestones and cemetery. I think Pastor every morning when she open the window, she look at the gravestones and all that. Okay? And I wonder if you are in the habit of reading what is written on the gravestone, okay? If you were to be walking in a cemetery somewhere in some old town in England, maybe you have come across one of the gravestones. And maybe you have read something like this. Remember, friend, as you pass by, as you are now, so once was I. As I am now, so you will be. Yeah? Prepare yourself and follow me. All right? And some wise guy, he read not enough. So he added this. To follow you, I am not content until I know which way you went. All right? And I think this is the most important question we as humans face, right? Where will we go when we die? And who should we follow to get there? Huh? Who should we follow to get there? And so that brings us to Hebrews. And contrary to popular belief, Hebrews is not the book about God brewing coffee. It's not instruction manual on how to brew coffee. Rather, it's actually a book about how God is brewing a plan to bring us back to Him. Yeah, and that is manifested in the person of Jesus Christ. And so, if you read Hebrews as we go along, we'll find that it whole book is centered on the person of Jesus Christ. And today, Hebrews 2, we're going to look at Jesus as the man. And as we go through, we are going to ask three questions as we go through. Who is this Jesus as a man? Why did he become a man? And the more important question is, what does this mean for us? Who is Jesus as a man? Why he became a man? And what does this mean for us? Okay, who is Jesus actually? In Hebrews chapter 1, Michael has shared with us that Jesus, the writer of Hebrews, has very strongly argued that Jesus is God. And now in chapter 2, he's going to go the opposite direction and say, Jesus not only is God, but Jesus is fully human as well. And so let's read what Hebrews chapter 2 says, beginning in verse 5. For it was not to angels that God subjected the world to come, of which we are speaking. It has been testified somewhere. What is man that you are mindful of him? Or the Son of Man that you care for him? You made him a little lower, for a little while lower than the angels. You have crowned him with glory and honor, putting everything in subjection under his feet. Now, in putting everything in subjection to him, he left nothing outside his control. At present, we do not yet see everything in subjection to him, but we see him who, for a little while, was made lower than the angels, namely Jesus, crowned with glory and honor because of the suffering of death, so that by the grace of God, he might be able to taste death for everyone. Let's continue. For it was fitting that he, for whom and by whom all things exist, in bringing many sons to glory, should make the founder of their salvation perfect through suffering. For he who sanctifies and those who are sanctified all have one source. That is why he is not ashamed to call them brothers, saying, I will tell of your name to my brothers. In the midst of the congregation, I will sing your praise. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children God has given me. Let's continue. Okay, so we stop there first. And we go to the first point. Who is Jesus? And we can see here clearly, Jesus actually identifies with us humans. Okay? Jesus identifies with us humans, and the writer argues in three ways, in 3 points. First of all, he argues Jesus was made lower than the angels for a while. Wow. Last week we just read Jesus was greater than the angels. Jesus is infinitely greater than the angels. And suddenly now we read Jesus was made for a little while lower than the angels. And the writer quotes from Psalm chapter 8 here. Okay, let's see what it says. What is man that you are mindful of him? Or the son of man that you care for him? You made him for a little while lower than the angels. You have crowned him with glory and honor and putting everything in subjection under his feet. Okay? If you are experiencing a bout of self-glorification, sometimes it's good to think about what David said. What is man? And if you think about it, we're actually like tiny ants living on a planet that is like a speck of dust in the whole universe. But even so, God has created us for a great destiny. And although now we really are a bit lower than the angels, right? Yeah, we read every encounter in the Bible between man and angels, the man will just fall terrified. Okay? Because angels are supernatural beings. But our destiny will be to rule over angels. Paul says that, right, in 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter, I think chapter 10, he says, we will rule the world and we will rule angels. That is our destiny as humans. But for now, not the case. And suddenly, the writer of Hebrews takes this verse and applies it to Jesus as well. He says, Jesus, for a little while, when he was on this earth, he was made lower than the angels. But now, he is crowned in glory. He's seated at the right hand of the Father now and is crowned in glory. Okay? So, the next argument that he makes, Jesus suffered and died. Okay? God does not suffer and God does not die. Angels do not suffer, angels do not die. Only humans suffer and only humans die. Okay? And there's a phrase there, if you notice it, it says, Jesus was made perfect through suffering. Jesus not perfect before this, man? Jesus was not perfect and then he became a human, became perfect. No lah, okay? Jesus was already perfect. He has always been perfect. But there is a sense that before he became a human, he did not experience what we go through as humans. Okay, there's a difference between knowing and experiencing. Let me try and explain. Did I ever tell you my honeymoon story before? Maybe, I think I got lah. Maybe some of you can remember, some of you don't. Okay, never mind. I recall the story for you. Do you all know where I spent my honeymoon? Oh, I spent my honeymoon in the hospital. Okay, I spent my honeymoon in the hospital. All right. About 1 week after our wedding, I had to go to KL for a course lah, very important course for my confirmation. In the middle of the course, I got high fever, I got very sick, and I drove back to Kuantan from KL, went to the hospital, they check, took my blood. Oh, you got dengue. Admit. That time we have a special dengue ward, just for dengue patients only. So that's where I spent my honeymoon. Before this, as a medical student and as a trainee doctor, I've been treating dengue patients. I know, oh, dengue got stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. I also know, oh, what are the danger signs? When you pop it, if you are got tenderness here, oh, at least stage 3, danger sign already. Then I also need to see the platelet count. How low can you go? Okay, how low can you go, platelet count? And then I need to calculate how much fluid to give, Okay? So all this is my knowledge as a doctor. And suddenly now I'm lying there with the drip, but someone calculate for me lah. Someone when I was there, someone pop it. Ayo, here tender. Danger sign. Okay. So from knowing about dengue, now I know what it's like to be a dengue patient. I know what it's like to have dengue fever. Okay. So that's the difference between knowing and experiencing. So in some way, yes, God, Jesus, He's eternal. He sees the end from the beginning. He sees everything we go through. But in some sense, He never experienced it until He became a human. Okay? And then you might wonder, hey, if all God needed was a sacrifice for sins, why don't Jesus just incarnate as a fully grown human being on Friday, go and get someone to kill him, bury him, and on Sunday rise again? Why must he go through the whole process of being born, being a helpless baby, having to grow up and be taught by parents? Why? Okay? Because he had to live a whole, full human life. And so, Jesus suffered, and finally he died. Okay? And finally, the last point that the writer makes here, Jesus calls us brothers. And here again, he quotes from the Old Testament. Okay? He quotes from two passages, one in the Psalms and one in Isaiah. Okay? And in these passages, he quotes, is Jesus calling us brothers. He's identifying with us. We are the same. Okay? You don't call your pet dog a brother, right? Right? And you don't call your pet bird, oh, my little sister. No. Okay? We call, hey, bro, let's go and have some tea, right? You're talking to fellow human beings. Okay. And so, the writer quotes these passages and he says, Jesus identifies, he calls us brothers. Okay? He calls us brothers. So this is the humanity of Jesus. This is the fully human part of Jesus. Now we go to a deeper question. Why? Now we know who is Jesus. He's fully God. He's fully human. But why did he become human? Okay, let's continue reading. Since therefore the children share in flesh and blood, he himself likewise partook of the same things, that through death he might destroy the one who has the power of death, that is, the devil, and deliver all those who through fear of death were subject to a lifelong slavery. For surely it is not angels that he helps, but he helps the offspring of Abraham. Therefore, he had to be made like his brothers in every respect, so that he might become a merciful and faithful high priest in the service of God, to make propitiation for the sins of the people. For because he himself has suffered when tempted, he is able to help those who are being tempted. Why did Jesus become human? Again, the writer makes three arguments. To be a sacrifice for our sins. Okay, we'll read later in Hebrews, and the blood of bulls and rams is not enough. Okay, to be a pleasing and appropriate sacrifice for sins. Okay, only God. Okay, only God, a perfect God, is able to take the sins of everyone upon himself, right? That's the God part of Jesus. Only as God can he take the full weight of sins of the world upon himself. But at the same time, only a human can die for a human. Basically, this is what he's saying. Only a human being can die for a fellow human being. Okay? And only a perfect human being who never sinned be a worthy enough sacrifice for the sins of the whole world. Okay? So, Jesus had to become a human in order to be a sacrifice for our sins. And number two, to be a mediator between God and man. Okay, the passage talks about him being a high priest. And actually, the role of a high priest is to be a mediator. Means God says something to him, he will go and tell the people. And when the people need to get forgiveness from God, they also go through the high priest. And so Jesus functions as that mediator. Romans chapter 8 says Jesus is at the right hand of God interceding for us. Right? He's there interceding for us. To be a mediator between God and us. And finally, to help us in our temptations. Okay? So I was wondering also, how does Jesus help us in our temptations? Okay, in one way you can say that, again, Jesus is there interceding for us. He's praying for us. He's giving us strength. Okay? And we know that famous passage in 1 Corinthians, right? It says that no temptation has overcome us, which is not common to man. And God will not allow us to be tempted more than we can bear, but He will always supply a way out. So Jesus is there to help us in that sense. How else does Jesus help us? Well, since He was tempted as a man, He knows what we are going through. He knows the temptation. And He can empathize with us. And if we fall, which we do, I'm sure, He's there to forgive us. Okay? So Jesus helps us in our temptations. And let's go to a deeper question now. What does this mean for us? Jesus is fully human. Jesus became a sacrifice for our sins. He is a mediator for us now. But what does it mean for us? Okay? So let's just look at it in two ways. Jesus had a full human experience. And Jesus is not ashamed to call us brothers. Okay. Let's spend a bit of time and go through Jesus' human experience. Okay? And I'm just focused on probably the negative experiences. Of course, Jesus had a lot of positive experiences as well. Of course, he had joy, he had friendship, and all that. But let's focus on the maybe negative experiences. First of all, yes, Jesus was hungry and thirsty. Okay? When he was finished teaching, remember when he met the Samaritan woman at the well, he asked her for some water. He was thirsty. Okay, when Jesus finished teaching the 5,000, 4,000, I'm sure he was hungry as well. Okay? Jesus got tired, like any of us. If any of you felt so tired, work lah, then come back, baby little kids, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Jesus got so tired once, he fell asleep in the middle of the storm. No, he was on the boat. The boat was going up and down. Everyone else on the boat thought they were going to die. And Jesus was sleeping there. Must have been very tired, lah. Okay. So Jesus got tired, and he always took time to go and rest, to go and be alone by himself. Okay. Any of you felt pain before? You got feel pain, go and see Sydney. Okay? Or you can come and see me also. I can help you with the pain also. Okay? But I mean physical pain lah. Emotional pain, no, go and see pastor. Okay? Physical pain, come and see me. Okay? Okay? Jesus felt real pain when he was whipped and he was scourged, when he was crucified. That was real pain that he felt. Okay? This one. Any one of you who has children will know this feeling. Frustration. Why? So many times you cannot get. I explained to you why so many times. Why you keep on making the same mistake? Okay? This one so easy also don't know. Okay? Jesus also felt the same thing with disciples. Hey, why I've been for you? You've been with me for 3 years and you still don't understand. Okay? They couldn't cast out the devil. You of little faith, how long must I put up with you? Okay? Jesus also felt frustrated. Okay? Any one of you done a good deed, did something, feel unappreciated. No one thank you. In fact, worse than that, they go and question your motive. Okay? Jesus felt that. He healed 10 lepers. Only one leper came back to thank him. When Jesus cast out the demon-possessed man, remember the demon-possessed man with chains in the cave? He cast out the demons from that man, and the townspeople, instead of thanking him, asked him to go away. Okay? Unappreciated. Alamak, can you remove the thing? Okay? Jesus felt sad. Okay? He was sorrowful as well. When his good friend Lazarus died, when he saw everyone else crying, he also felt in his heart the sadness of the passing of a friend. When Jesus looked at Jerusalem, his heart was so broken at its sin, and he just cried, "Oh Jerusalem, oh Jerusalem, if only you had," no? And he goes on and on and on. He felt sorrow for Jerusalem, his chosen city, his chosen people, because they had abandoned and they have turned away from him. Anyone of you felt misunderstood before? Like no one in the world seems to understand you? Not even your family? Everyone misunderstands your motives, what you're here for? Okay. Jesus' own family thought he was crazy. While he was teaching one day, they wanted to catch him away because they thought he was crazy. Okay? When Jesus went back to his own kampong, no, when you go back kampong for Chinese New Year, wow, everyone say, happy to see you. When Jesus went back to his own kampong to teach, no one believed in him. No one say, hey, this is Joseph's son. Hey, I saw him growing and running around with his brothers. And now you want to tell me what to do? Okay? Jesus also was misunderstood. Not only that, worse still, his good friends, his 12 disciples with him for 3 years. Just now, Cindy also said, he repeatedly told them he's going to die. But they still cannot get in their head. They always, and you know, why one of the reasons why the crowd, another misunderstanding about Jesus' mission, put it that way. Okay? Because the people of Israel had this expectation when they thought of the Messiah. They had the expectation that the Messiah would be a great conquering king or hero. No, he will come and liberate them and free them and establish a rule. And that didn't happen during his earthly ministry. And so he was deeply misunderstood. No one really understood why he came and what he was for. Have you ever felt scrutinized before? Everything that you do at work, your boss scrutinizes you. Hey, didn't put eye there. Your eye no dot. Okay? Go or not? Or your parents are always trying to find fault with what you do. Ever felt that? Jesus also. Okay? No, do you know that probably there were a group of Pharisees and scribes just following him around, no? Okay? That's how they can, no? Remember there was one incident, Jesus and his disciples were, on the Sabbath day, they were walking through the field and they were plucking grains to eat and then they were doing eating. And out of the blue, someone jump out and say, hey, it's not lawful for you to do that. How could that happen if it were not for people following him around and all that? Okay? Every time when Jesus went to teach in the synagogue, I'm sure there'll be some scribes and Pharisees there trying to listen and just pick up a mistake and try and find fault somewhere. Okay? Scrutinize. This is also a very familiar emotion, anger. Okay? And we have to be very careful with this. But Jesus also experienced anger. Okay? The famous one is, of course, when he went to the temple, saw people just doing business and cheating people, and then he got so angry. Okay? But he also felt anger at the Pharisees and the scribes who put a lot of burden on the people, no? Made the people follow so many useless man-made rules. Okay? He felt anger towards them, and remember the famous 7 woes he pronounced on the Pharisees. Okay? Yeah. Okay? Rejected. Any of you felt that before? Okay? Rejected. Jesus rejected by his own people. Okay? When he came to Jerusalem, when he was before Pilate, the people said, crucify him. He's not our king. We have nothing to do with him. Tempted in every way. Just now we just learned, tempted in every way. Let's try and illustrate this and see. All of us feel temptation, right? Okay? Give you an example. I noticed recently a few of you have slimmed down, lost weight a bit. Okay? So I'm sure it must be you have to follow a very strict diet, right? This one cannot eat, this one cannot eat, you must only eat this, must only eat, right? Now imagine, right in front of your office, every day when you go up, there's a char kway teow store there, selling the nice char kway teow, oily, calorie bomb. And to add more calorie, add tianjiang some more. Every morning when you go up, wow, temptation. Okay. There are only 2 ways out of temptation. One is you give in, and one is you resist. Okay. Let's just say on the first day of your diet, you go and smell, wow, cannot tahan tahan already, eat. Okay? What happens when you eat? You give in to temptation. No more temptation, no? Correct? Or you have a guilty feeling, but no more temptation, right? Correct? Okay? Do you feel a very strong temptation? No lah. At the first one, you already gave in, Oh, okay. So now, day 1, don't want to give in. Day 2, day 3, day 4, don't want to give in. How would that temptation feel? Every single time that you resist it. Stronger, stronger, and stronger, right? And while you're tapping your thoughts to go to char kway teow, open the windows, the smell come out. Wow. Okay? So you keep on resisting and resisting, the temptation actually gets stronger and stronger, right? Until maybe you just give in after 1 week. Okay cheat a bit Okay? But Jesus, imagine this. Jesus was tempted not only to eat char kway teow with tianjiang, but every other temptation. And he never gave in. Can you imagine how strong the temptation, whatever temptation would be on him? Never to give in to any of it. All right? That's Jesus. Tempted in every way, but never sinned. Pressure to meet expectations. Go or not, everyone? Yeah? Meet expectations from your boss, meet expectations from your friends, from your family members. Okay? Jesus also had that. The Jews wanted Jesus to be their Messiah. The Jews wanted him to be their king, to conquer the Romans and set up a kingdom. But he did not. Okay? That was not why he came the first time. The second time he comes, he'll do that, but not when he was on earth. Have you ever felt the pain of being betrayed by a close friend? Okay? A friend who has spent 3 years with him and at the end betrayed him? Have you ever felt that? And how about your other close friends? Have you ever felt abandoned by your close friends when you were in trouble? Jesus had. Only one of the 12 betrayed him. But the other 11 vanished like a puff of smoke. Okay? Peter was the only one who actually dared to go. That also he denied Jesus. Okay? Abandoned by close friends. He was unfairly accused. Ever felt that before? Accused of something you have not done? Or your motives have been motives for doing something have been questioned, and you're accused of being someone or doing something that you did not do. That was Jesus at his trial. When he hung on the cross, he was mocked, probably by some of the same people who 1 week ago had shouted Hosanna to the Son of David. 1 week later, they were mocking him. Ever felt that? Mocked by people? Have any of you been punished for something you did not do? Jesus had. Jesus was punished for something he did not do. Unjustly punished. Can you identify with any of these? Because Jesus has gone through it. Yeah? Jesus has gone through it. And someone has said, it is not remarkable that I am unashamed to associate with Jesus. But it is remarkable that he is not ashamed to call us brethren. Okay? The remarkable thing is Jesus is not ashamed to call us brothers. And I imagine this scene, on Judgment Day when all of us are before the judgment seat of God, no? And God calls one by one. And God, Chan Kin Hap, come stand. Yeah. And the angel read from the book Chan Kin Hap, digs his nose, scratches his butt when no one is looking. Okay, very grumpy in the morning. Scold the children for no reason, and then goes on. The list goes on. Okay, then Jesus will come and say, he did not deny me. He is my brother. Come. Next one, Wong Fok Ming. Then again, okay. Cannot resist a plate of char kway teow with Tian Jiang. Always give in at the first trial and temptation. Then go on, go. Then Jesus say, he did not deny me. He's my brother. Come. Isn't that amazing? And so on and so forth. Jesus is not ashamed to call us brothers. Okay, to tie it all up, let me try and illustrate this to you. Probably not a very perfect illustration, but I hope it gives you an idea. No? If those of you who have come to my house before, you know that I have 3 pet rabbits. Snowy, Harry, and Oreo. Okay, they're very cute. They're very, very cute. I like to play with them. I feed them. But there are 2 things that I don't like about them. One is, every time when I go and feed them like that, they will fight for the food. No, fight for the food. No? And I always want to tell them, hey, don't fight. The food is there. Don't need to fight. Okay? And then the other thing I don't like about them is I have a special potty area for them to poop and to urinate and all that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they poop all over the place and they urinate all over the place. I also want to try and tell them, hey, the place is there, go you urinate all over, every day have to clean, But if only they could understand, right? If only they could understand. What's the only way that I can make them understand? I have to become a rabbit. That's right. And let's just imagine someone invented a special machine that can make you into a rabbit. Would you give up everything, all of this, to become a rabbit, crawl on all fours, drink water with your tongue, and when you poop, cannot wash one. Poop and you cannot wash. It's all stick to your fur. Do you want that? Would you give all that up to be a rabbit? To tell them, don't fight for food and don't pee all over the place. Because essentially, this is what Jesus did. Yeah? He gave up his glory, his everything, to come down to our level, to tell us about how to get to God. As I bring this to a close, can we invite the musicians to come? Let's bring this to a close. And I asked this question to the kids because I was teaching this topic to them sometime few months ago. Okay, how good is your maths? What is 100% plus 100%? It's not a trick question. What is 100% plus 100%? Yeah. Okay. In every other situation, it's 200%. Okay, except for one. What is the one situation? When we're talking about Jesus. Okay? According to the Bible, according to what we have just learned, Jesus is 100% human, 100% God. In one person. In one person. How does this work out? How can one person at the same time be a fully human, but in the same time be fully God? It's a mystery. Don't you think it's a mystery? And over time, over history, people, well-meaning Christians, have tried to give an explanation. Okay? Many years ago, a guy named Arius, he tried to say, Jesus was not really fully God, he was a created being. Many years later, another guy, Apollonarius, he tried to explain it this way. Jesus is just like a blank human body, like a puppet human body, but God's consciousness come and indwell in him. Okay? Ultimately, I think all our efforts to try and explain this will fall short. Okay? We will either end up diminishing Jesus' divinity, or we diminish his humanity. For me, I'm content to have this mystery. Okay? Moses in Deuteronomy 29, he says, some mysteries are for God. Some mysteries or some secrets are for God. The rest he revealed to us. And I'm comforted in the fact that this understanding of Jesus is written in Scripture, in our Bible. And if it were not written, I don't think any human philosopher would have thought of this. And so I'm comforted in that fact, that I am man and God is God. And I don't need to understand everything about God. I just need to put my trust in him. And I stand in awe and wonder when I think that Jesus, the creator of heaven and earth, would come down to my level, to experience all I'm going through, to experience all my temptations, and in the end die for my sins. This is the Savior I love, I serve, and I trust my eternal destiny to. Let's sing this song and Fu Ming will close.